So, though I started with a question of diaspora in a rather limited empirical way, it has, here's my last reflection on the thought of Stuart Hall, in its usual way, undergone enormous expansion. So I've tried to apply it to another situation, seeing it in another way. It's illuminated something else. I now want to say that what happens to the idea of the diaspora now is that without obliterating the moment of the nation state, the moment of nationalism, it is quietly subverting it. It is quietly surpassing it, quietly transcending the project of one life in one nation state, located in one national economy, and, as it were, superintended by one national culture, attached to one national identity. That is a moment which is no longer the moment that the global system is constituting. Now, what the balance there is between globalization from above, globalization from below, whether there's any way of holding that system of power, that's not my purpose at this stage of the evening to discuss with you. I've been trying to suggest what it might mean to be riveted throughout my life by unraveling the present conjuncture, by being disturbed by systems and structures of power, of injustice, of inequality, which are generated by forces that one does not fully understand, whose consequences one therefore cannot fully estimate, and whom one cannot therefore effectively resist. Well, I commend to you the politics of intellectual life. David Scott quite rightly said, though I wouldn't subscribe to everything that Edward Said had said about the nature of intellectual life, I do think there is a kind of vocation there. I do think it is the requirement on intellectuals not only to speak a kind of truth, the only truth they know, maybe not truth with a capital T, but anyway, some kind of truth, the best truth they can find, to speak that truth to power, to take responsibility for having spoken it, to take responsibility for speaking it to wider groups of people than are simply involved in the professional life of ideas, to speak it beyond the confines of the academy, to speak it, however, in its full complexity, never to speak it in too simple a way because the folks won't understand, because, then they will understand, but they'll get it wrong, which is much worse. So, to speak it in its full complexity, but to try to speak it in terms which other people who, after all, can think and do have ideas in their heads, though they're not paid to think, need it. They need it like you need food. They need it in order to survive. I commend the vocation of the intellectual life in this sense to you. I remind you that the academy is one of the places on which one of the sites on which it takes root, is not the only one. And I do plead with you not to get entrammeled in its internal rituals, simply because one's on the site, you think that somehow you are thinking. Not necessarily. It doesn't absolutely follow, believe me. Yes. But I commend you to defend it, but I commend you to defend it as a space of critical intellectual work, And that will always mean subverting the settled forms of knowledge, interrogating the disciplines in which you were trained, interrogating and questioning the paradigms in which you have to go on thinking. That is what I mean by thinking under erasure. No new language is going to drop from the skies. There isn't any, prophet who is going to deliver the books, etc., so that you can stop entirely thinking in the old way and start from year one. You remember that revolutionary dream? Year one, from now, socialist man. This is when the new history begins. From now on, the realm of freedom. It's rubbish. The realm of freedom will look mostly like the old realm of servitude, with just a little opening here and there. It's not all that different from what the past was, but something will have happened. Something will have moved. You'll be in a new moment. There will be new relations of forces there to work with. There will be a new conjuncture to understand. There will be work for critical intellectuals to do. And I commend that vocation to you if you can manage to find it. I don't claim, to have honored that vocation fully in my life, but I say to you that that is kind of what I've been trying to do all this while.